Namaste and welcome back to another episode of The Sapient. Today we have yet another guest. Welcome, Robert.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going good. How about you?
Doing well. It's been the afternoon. I know it's pretty early for you as well. I'm not used to waking up that early anymore.
hmm
Good lord. I don't know how you do it. I gotta get
Yeah,
some sleep in.
that's just habit. Um, when you talk to a lot of Americans and British, it just becomes a habit because where I'm from. Um, yeah. So, how did you come to know this project? That is the Borgen project.
So, whenever I was in the military, I was on board submarines, and so I talked to a lot of different people, and I was able to visit different countries and see some of the effects that poverty had on the locals and stuff like that, where people were living and sometimes off of only $2 a day, or barely even making like $3 to $5 a week, and so global poverty was kind of like growing up in Texas and in America, where we have not as much hardships. We do have Americans do have their own hardships, but it isn't until you go and see some of these other cultures and other countries that, for a majority of the population, lives below the poverty line that you really start to see the effects of poverty on a community and their way of life. So
hmm
with that in mind, I started looking to where I can make a difference and what I can do to start helping. And I found the Borgen Project, and they are a nonpartisan nonprofit advocacy organization. So with nonpartisan, they don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, conservative. They don't care where your political lines are. It's just that the main goal of the advocacy is for helping helping reduce global poverty.
hmm
And it's a very much more of a humanitarian goal, which I feel is, if we're all going to come together for something, why not just for the betterment of humanity?
hmm Do you think like our heightened expectation in Western countries has led to poverties in other countries?
Uh, so whenever you start seeing like higher poverty rates in countries developed, especially after the COVID-19 incidents that affected the world, whether whatever your viewpoints are on it, it did have a significant impact on the economic status of the global economy because uh, shipping lines were cut, people weren't buying as many things, people were inside, relief couldn't be given to those that needed it, and it really put a big hamper on what we've been trying to do to help solve the issue. So yeah, whenever those small countries, whenever they can't start reaching out to more stable countries and stuff like that, it's going to put a hamper on their economic growth as well, which leads to instability in their countries.
hmm Because what I saw about like Borgen project is that it's not just trying to tackle one thing,
Mhm.
because poverty is a combo package.
Yes.
It's like a punch and a kick and anything else. Let's say a chop, because it is really a package when we really look at it. So, and also that package changes from like countries to countries because of you know of course the economic situation and also uh, lack of resources. So like for example, because I'll just give you a small example. Like I just saw that one out of four containers that reach United States of food gets rejected because of it's not looking good or it's not up to the standard.
Yeah, you don't want to give people rotten food because that just increases famine.
hmm So um, like how does like your project like tackle this particular issue of like food scarcity?
So with food scarcity, is so the Borgen Project, what they focus on a lot is the advocacy of the people. So the Borgen Project is a worldwide organization. I know people that are working with me in Africa, UK, Australia. There's people I know. There's probably some in China as well. And all it is bringing the focus of the communities of people that they're around to encouraging governments and encouraging others to focus on making a change. So while the Borgen Project does not personally deliver the food and stuff like that, they advocate for the organizations and that do that to get to help them receive the necessary funding to uh, reach those people. For example, for the United States, an aircraft carrier costs about $6 billion to make and maintain. The world's largest food program only gets about $4 billion a year. So the like as much as I love the defense budget of the United States as whenever I was a part of it,
Hmm.
we can definitely improve that. Like I think for the United States, only 1% of the budget actually goes to international affairs, like for federal funding for international affairs. And that's
Hmm.
something that we've been trying to increase for a long time because uh, that 1%, even if you bump it up to like an extra 3 or 4%, that's still millions upon millions of dollars that can go towards fixing that food scarcity, where we can start putting better temperature regulation controls into the shipping containers. We can start investing in better preserving methods that could be given out to the people, as well as train specialists to make sure those lines stay secure.
Hmm. So much for being the leader of the world, isn't it? That.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't know what the budget was until I actually started doing my own research, and it's kind of it's extremely strange that how little, sorry, is put into this kind of budget to help the rest of the people of the world, because like we all know that the United States is a very much a like one of the leading world powers.
Hmm.
And I know, and a lot of people, I've talked to a lot of people like, oh, what about the people in our own country, or what about, like, why do we have to do that? Like it's a lot of people wanting to place a blame somewhere else, or like, why do they have to do something about it? Why can't someone else? And that's the thing, is all we are asking you to do is call. Like that's like the
Hmm.
number one thing for the Borgen Project is uh, we want people to advocate, we want people to lobby, we want people to bird dog the United States, and people for in the UK to contact your members of parliament, and for the US, contact your congressional leaders. These are the people that are going to be able to allocate that money and do the things that you want to do. It's just that all you have to do is make yourself heard about what you want done. And with the Borgen Project, that's what we are. Is we are just trying to redirect focus of governments and the people to a collective focus towards like one specific goal, or the complex goals that you're talking about with global poverty being, illiteracy, famine, food scarcity, um, transportation, energy. It's so many different issues that all need to be solved, but you got to start somewhere.
Hmm. Yeah, I read somewhere that if 7 billion people said that it's not my problem, it would be a big problem.
Everyone's got
And
issues.
mhm. Yeah, but do you believe that capitalism also benefits from poverty? You know.
I understand what you're asking, and I do believe that in a sense, because whenever the United States or UK or any other developed country gives support to a underdeveloped country, it promotes economic strength for both countries, because that's more shipping that's going out, that's more job creation, that's more international positivity, or good relations with other countries, and that will also boost the economy of the country that is supporting that country, because it creates those jobs, it creates those connections, and it allows for steady economic growth. And that's the thing, is if we're not involved, or we're not putting ourselves out there, whenever these countries who are experiencing extreme poverty, the governments start to collapse. Uh, People are then radicalized by people that want to change, but more of a greed for power. We've seen this a couple different times, especially with a lot of different countries in Africa, where we'll see unstable governments that have not received any help, or they are very much in a financial financially unstable position, that their people would be uh, like brought up, and they're going to be like riled up to want to cause a coup or cause a economic collapse because they don't know what to do. Like most Americans, I would say probably over 75% Americans really don't know how complex our government is. And that's just how it is we put people into power. Those people are into power because they know how it works and they understand the system and how it should be. And if that system collapses and there's no one that knows how to run that country or in order to set things up, it's going to bring everything to, I would think, even worse, which I is hard to believe that it could get worse with how much is going
Hmm.
on.
Yeah, you said something about people not knowing how does their government work. I would go a step ahead and say people would be surprised if they knew like how dumb few of the congressmen are, just because you look at any like congressional hearings about anything, and half of the questions asked could be like solved with a Google search.
Yeah. And I think that also a lot of people think contacting their congressional members or parliament is like, oh, you got to jump through all these hoops and stuff like that. No, I mean, I talked to my senators already on the phone and by email. Like all that information is public. You can legitimately just look up their information, give them an email, or give them a call. And I also looked up an interesting statistic that it is not uncommon for it to take only 7 people to either
Hmm.
email or call their senators or representatives to have them co-sign a bill. It does not take that many people to just come together and ask their representative for something that they want. So, like, let's say you get like 20 people that you know, and y'all want to get behind this, and y'all all say you're going to call your senator or you're going to email them. That can be enough for them to put support towards a bill that, like, for me, one of the biggest bills I want to support is the reauthorization of the READ Act. This act was established back in 2017 on a 5 year
Hmm.
basis, and it helped millions of people get more education, learn how to read, write, gain proficiency. Because I believe 2 out of every 10 children in the world are illiterate or have no opportunity to an education, and I think that's appalling. I honestly feel like every person in this world should have access to an education, because most people, they have a smartphone. The entire
Hmm.
internet, all the information you can have is right here on your phone. But if people don't know how to access it or even how to read because of the illiteracy, the global literacy rate,
Hmm.
and if people don't know how to read, they can't educate themselves, can't better themselves, and they can't become part of better their communities around them. Because
Hmm.
communication and education are, in my opinion, two of the highest priorities you should know how to do.
Yes. And it's also kind of weird that we have all this technology available, yet we cannot figure out an efficient way of delivering education. And
Uh,
you know it sounds so simple to say, but it is, I feel like it is so simple to deliver too. Because if you look at India right now, like, um, we don't have an illiteracy problem because people are well educated. But we have deliverance issues where there are smaller towns, where there are, let's say, 4 to 5 students. A government cannot sustain a school there, right? Because um, it takes so much funding to build a building and maintain it and all these things. So right now there are NGOs who deliver daily education, and they will give like a mobile tab, and children can just sit in their houses and learn. And now government also is supporting the like certifications. Let's say a kid is in third standard and that kid wrote the exam while sitting in home, but it is like validated as education because they understand the basics of it at least.
mhm.
So do you think like Western countries and few Western countries heightening this education, like it's almost like blocking access to education because of their own greed. Do you think it's kind of like unethical?
I actually despise most Western education systems because of the standardized testing methods that they use. My mother and two of my aunts are both teachers, and the education system, they tell me all the time how how screwed a lot of these kids are because they're going through the system, and because of No Child Left Behind, or because of COVID, lots of different reasons, uh, they are just it's just budgets, it's money, that's all it is. These children, they're not caring, parents are not caring, now teachers are starting not to care either, and no one's caring about the education because of how messed up it is. And while it is greed, it's exactly what you said. It is greed because school boards, colleges, all it is about pumping money into those institutions. And it's no better really than a child in their home on a tablet, except now they have a teacher in front that writes something on the board and then hopes the students learn it. If they don't, give them a somewhat passing grade and just send them on to the next person. It's such a
Hmm.
very toxic environment for the education system in general. That
Yeah, I mean, I saw a teacher talking about it, and they said, like, the modern education system is so similar to a factory where they're just like putting up a couple of parts and just pushing it out. Like, they don't care about quality of it, or they don't really care about quality or just the life of it. Like, what I'm teaching, how long is it going to last? It's all about just numbers, like how much grades can you just score. um and yeah, because yeah, and also like, um because I think there is this particular rule in United States that schools with higher grades receive higher like allowances or budget. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think you're making any sense. Just for example, just look at like NFL, right? The person, sorry, the team who scores the lowest gets a number one draft pick. Like, that's what's sensible, right? Because if a person is weak, you help them. You don't push them even down further by saying, okay, you're not going to get money now.
Yeah, no, I've known plenty of schools that were just like that, and I've seen a lot of different schools as well. Whenever I lived up in Connecticut, went to New York all the time, and I met new people that were uh, inner city kids. You know, like they went to schools that had little to no funding, uh, and the way kids are treated in some of those schools, and even where I come from, Texas, you go to Houston, you go to the different wards and stuff like that, you can really start to see the effects of low budgets for those types of schools. And really, you have to have some really strong teachers to even want to be there as well, because they're not getting paid all that much either. A teacher salary is laughable for what they're supposed to do.
Hmm.
And these kids, they don't care or don't understand because they see the lives they're growing up in and think, oh, this is just how it's always going to be. I
Hmm.
don't care. It's going to be like this no matter what I do. And that's the thing though, is if kids just realize that if they were given, like, it's not their fault, it really isn't, it's not the child's fault, and if they were just able to receive just a little bit more attention or a little bit more care, or just uh, able to learn the way to kind of logically think about the situation, or be able to use critical thinking,
Hmm.
that they can better themselves. They can live in a better situation. They don't have to live how they had already been living. I grew up in a relatively poor household. We were never like, like in deep poverty, but like, what, no trips, or like paycheck to paycheck a couple times, maybe no, not too many gifts this Christmas, like maybe stocking stuffers, like, and I was okay with that, because I understood our family living situation. So
Hmm.
I can like I can't imagine fully what it was like to also grow up in a situation that was worse than that. I can kind of
Hmm.
understand, but I can't fully understand.
Yeah.
And I understand maybe for you as well. Like I don't know if you also maybe grew up in that kind of living situation. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh, Different cultures, different ways of life, but
Mm-hmm.
all in the same. I think the universal message is I think kids are probably the biggest priority as well for education,
Mm-hmm.
so they can improve what we couldn't.
Yes. And also, it's like, the education system and like how people react to education system is like just so much weird compared to other things. Um, because we are spending so much on military, we are spending so much on literal bullshit. Um,
Yeah.
that can be spent on like education and food. And I often see like pro government people say that it's necessary that we pay for Ukraine. It's necessary we pay for other things, that especially in arms and ammunitions. And you know and I'm like, how about you just slow down? I'm not asking you to stop it. Right? I mean,
No.
United
Yeah.
States
No.
has so many like
Millions,
hmm
billions,
it
billions of dollars to Ukraine.
yeah, and we're willing to hire like private mercenaries, and to secretly send them to countries, um to influence political decisions in that particular country, when like 1.5 million people are homeless in California. Like, come on, like that should not make sense in any world. But
Homelessness in
unfortunately, like,
general.
lobbying exists.
Well, that's actually what we do at the Borgen Project. We do lobby, but it's for these programs for like helping reduce different issues around the world. That's what we lobby for. Is those bills that allows the government to give the funding to these organizations that I feel like a lot of different nonprofits and that could definitely use the funding, like people whose passions are helping people. Like I feel like there are still quite a few people that do feel think the way we do. I would like in wanting to help, and whenever you get start going up into government and stuff like that, I think that isn't quite the same. It's more of a game. You want to support the people that support you in a sense, and I feel that's why we're trying to lobby Congress as well. Is we're trying to be that support as well, but for a humanitarian cause rather than a political cause.
Yeah, that's what I was going to come at. Like, you're just playing the game.
Hmm.
Like, you just saw, okay, this is how this game is played, let's play the same game. um but I feel like lobbying itself is like unconstitutional. It's like legal bribery. And
That's
and it's rightfully does not exist in all of the world. It's only
mhm.
few countries that it exists in.
Yeah. Human freedoms do differ from country to country. I've been to a couple different Middle Eastern countries where the laws are extremely different from what I grew up. I remember uh, like going to Bahrain, which was it's a very uh, I would say it's not a strict country. It's really not
Hmm.
because I do see that there were some women that didn't have that had to wear the headdresses or anything like that.
Hmm.
But I think Bahrain, the way it's treated in the Middle East, is kind of like a vacation country. A lot of different
Yeah.
Middle Easterns will go there. Like I remember, I saw a man from Saudi Arabia eating
Hmm.
pork there, which is you go to Saudi Arabia, you get stoned for that stuff.
Yeah.
And but whenever I went to Oman, Oman was pretty cool.
Hmm.
Uh, and it's the laws like no filmography, no
Hmm.
cameras. Like one of the people I was with almost got arrested by the police Oman because he took a picture of the belly dancer.
Oh.
And
Hmm.
yeah, and the security guards started coming and stuff like that, and we had to like I was deleting it. Like he was dumb, you know.
Hmm.
But especially in America, though, with our position, with the American people have so much power that they don't realize that they have. And lobbying is like you were saying, it is evil. But if you think about it in politics, it's a necessary evil. So why not give that same piece of information to the American people? Because anybody can lobby, anybody. You do not have to be in like a political power or have a lot of money. You don't have need any of that. All you need to do is just reach out. Like, don't waste your time. Like if anything, it only takes 45 seconds to send an email to your senator. Anyone can find 45 seconds. I know people who are on their phone for like 3 hours a day just scrolling through videos or memes or whatever. They just waste their time, you know. And honestly, you can just take a small amount of your time to address an issue that you care about. It could be anything you want, just to be active and make your voice heard. And you were even like we agreed, most Americans do not know how to do this, and it's something that they're born with. Or if you're a citizen there, you have the rights as every other citizen. And if you're not a citizen American, like going to UK, contact Parliament. I don't know how India works though. How does y'all
Hmm.
do y'all follow a similar like Parliament, or do y'all have what
Yeah.
kind of
Ours is like the British system because, of course, they fucked us over.
yeah?
So it's the same system.
Actually, interesting thing. I heard that y'all were that your prime minister was trying to change the
Hmm.
name of y'all's country to
Yeah, yeah, we are changing it to Bharat instead of India.
that's a sacred word as well, correct?
Yeah, because India is like it's like a slave name given to us by British.
Yeah, because yeah, and y'all are also not going to export y'all's rice anymore either.
Yeah, because we are having like rain, less rain here this year, this particular year. So we know there is going to be like less output next year.
Yeah, I know
Um,
America and Canada are kind of wanting that rice, you know, because I know a lot of people. It's good rice, it really is. Uh,
yeah.
it's very strange as well. Like also, I think it's so cool that India like has always. I think a lot of whenever I talk to people about India as well,
Hmm.
they like to think it's this underdeveloped country, or it's really not. They have the most English
Yeah.
speakers in the world. Their
Hmm.
their culture is very family oriented, and like they
Hmm.
India has improved greatly in the past like 100 years, and there are still pocket areas in India where you know it's more uh, the villages or the towns or some stuff like that that does what was it, the family law or the not family law. I'm trying to remember my world history. It's back
Hmm.
here somewhere.
So, like, when people say like India is underdeveloped, it's the same concept of like British saying that Indians are snake charmers and shit. Um,
Offensive as shit. Yeah.
yeah, it's not even offensive. After time, it just becomes funny, because you're taking so much shit about it. Um, like people don't realize that we have the fastest and the most efficient payment system in the world. That is UPI. It's like it like when people because recently G20 summit was held in India,
Hmm.
and like Germans, Swedes, like people, like especially prime ministers and ministers of other countries came to India, and all of these videos just going viral right now when they just went to a small vendor on the street, and they paid that guy through a QR code, to buy something, and it's instant. And
Yeah.
the
No.
best thing is, there is no like transaction fee.
Also, India has a really good internet. Like I remember hearing like New Delhi has some of the best internet speeds, depending on like where you're at within the city. I don't
Yeah, and
remember where I read
internet
that
is
at, but
very affordable actually, like very affordable. Like for let's say 300 Mbps internet speed, you would pay somewhere around, I don't know, $10 per month.
yeah, you come to America, you're paying around probably like 60, 70, maybe even $80 for like 400 MPS.
Oh my god. And yeah, and of course here, like, because our all of our Wi-Fi's are like unlimited bandwidth.
You got to pay
um
for your bandwidth down here. I remember when it starts getting closer to the end of the month after because they rate your usage and kind of like builds up, and as you go along your plan, depending on what kind of plan you
hmm
have, uh, whenever you start reaching the end of your bandwidth, it just slows your
hmm
internet speed down
yeah,
drastically.
Robert. I think my family would be screwed in United States because we are using upwards of 2.8 TB every month.
Dang.
And I'm still paying around $10.
Oh wow. Yeah, and also as I'm talking to you, in the United
Hmm.
States, you in India, like there's not a lot of latency as well. Like I was actually
Yeah.
expecting a little bit more latency than what I'm expecting.
Hmm. Yeah, because it was an issue early in 2015, 16s, and then government of India made this conscious decisions of having servers and data centers within India, because like China is our um, close enemy and friend. So we decided to go internet independent. So now, like, you don't even face lag even in like games. um
Yeah, I used to be a bit of a gamer while I was in the military. Kind
hmm
of gave that up because I got a lot on my plate. I am still going to school. I am still in college. On the GI
hmm
Bill for my communications degree.
yeah, it amazes me like how old into their ages like Americans study. I mean, because in India, if you're like even like 28 and you start to do an MBA, people start to ask questions like, what happened to your career, why are you a failure?
Oh, yeah. I'm 26. I like to consider. I'm
Hmm.
actually a little bit on the younger side, but like I said, I went to the military first because I couldn't afford college, and I wasn't going to take a student loan and then spend the next 30 years trying to pay it off if I could pay it off. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was Gabriel Iglesias. He said, there are two ways to go to a college: either sacrifice your career or sacrifice your life.
Yeah. Oh,
You
Gabriel
took the other
Iglesias is so
path.
funny. Oh, I
Hmm.
love Gabriel Iglesias. I saw him in Houston a couple years back
Yeah, and also it's amazing like how many people he managed to piss off on a daily basis,
because
and he just doesn't care.
he doesn't. He speaks his
Yeah,
mind, and I appreciate that about him.
yeah, and I feel like like those kind of people are more needed for your kind of work. Um, because
Where they don't care if they piss off people. Yeah,
yeah, because like I see a lot of NGOs, they want to say something really important, but people don't listen to them because they're not like controversial. I'm like, dude, if I had to end world hunger, and if I had to work in public, I would do that. I don't give a shit.
yeah. You want to help out the people, and feelings shouldn't matter whenever it comes to like issues like this. It really doesn't. It's
Yeah.
about do what needs to be done. Cut
Hmm.
out like all this unnecessary bullshit.
Yeah, and also when like non-profits take this um high horse way, where they're like, we are very good, we are very ethical. I'm like, don't be do like, I don't know, like shady shit, but if
Yeah,
you're able to solve that particular problem, it works.
actually, that's a big reason why I chose the Borgen project to be a part of. You can actually go on their website and look at their W-99 or their 990s, and
Hmm.
you could see where all that money is going. I think 92% goes to the actual programs of teaching and stuff like that. I think 4% or 3%, 2% goes to fundraising. So they'll put money into their fundraising programs to build their money to put
Hmm.
towards the programs. And I think
Yeah.
like 4 or 5% for like operation costs.
Hmm.
Like I think the only real people that are getting like an actual salary, I think, is our president of the Borgen Project, Clint Borgen. I think he
Hmm.
does give himself a good salary, but he is working about 60 hours a week,
Hmm.
running all these programs, overseeing a lot of the different stuff that's going on, and a lot of the board members and a lot of the other people that work either are not paid at all. I think a lot of it's volunteer. Like I'm not getting paid,
Hmm.
and this is mostly just to learn and advocate for something that I believe in. It
Hmm.
like no money is going to me for this. This is my own free time for it. well, not free time, but I spend about maybe 20 hours a week on this, and I would give
Hmm.
more, but I got a job and school I have to do as well. So I'm
Hmm.
fairly busy.
Yeah, that is kind of awesome that you're just like doing it out of voluntary thing, because there is this jeweler called as Tracks NYC on like Facebook, Instagram, everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he tries to give away like gold like for free, and people don't accept it. People are like, why are you giving me free gold?
That's all. That's it also goes into so many other issues as well. That I honestly believe that America should have never gotten off the gold standard. It's one of
Why?
the worst decisions.
I mean, it gave you the ability to print unlimited bills.
Yeah, whenever we got off, that's why inflation's so bad as it is now, is because we're off the gold standard. There's nothing backing up the dollar other than it
Hmm.
is the dollar.
Yeah. Shall I give you like one crazy point of view about your dollar?
Hmm.
Afghanistan has a stronger currency than India.
It has say again.
Afghanistan has a stronger currency than India when you compare it to dollar.
Oh yeah, God, the dollar's not even worth the money it's printed on.
Yeah.
But it's still used as a global standard. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why like this BRICS is here, right? To break that thing up. And I like whenever Americans say it's not going to be successful. People have tried before. And I'm like, yeah, people have tried before. So what? Like that does not mean it cannot happen. And
Yeah.
right now, if you look at BRICS, like Saudi Arabia,
Hmm.
I think Oman, Israel, let me see, uh, Egypt, and all of the fuel tanks of United States are hopping off dollar.
Yeah, they know it's a sinking ship.
Yeah, because back in like COVID, when this um, whole supply chain broke down, you remember back then.
Hmm.
And Indians used to flex that we have like the cheapest oil, that is cheapest fuel.
I
And
think Saudi Arabia still had y'all beat though.
yeah, of course, no, I'm just talking about countries who don't have fuel in their backyard. Import rates, and we still had lower import rates than United States.
Well, yeah, because
And
we shut down all our oil stuff, like the budget for it, and everything like that. We just shut it down
yeah.
for really no reason.
And the Biden uncle, he tried to scare us with, like he said we would sanction India. And for the first time in like freaking 77 years, which feels like a million years in India,
Hmm.
for the first time our prime minister had the balls to say go ahead, do it. And
Well, yeah,
they had an official call where like Narendra Modi said go ahead, do it, like we don't give a shit.
that's also another reason why we need a lobby Congress, because we put these people on such high ground that we basically made them mentally unreachable. You know, we consider them not to be people at that point. Like, we elevate them to such a high status that we don't consider them on the same plane as we do. And I feel like
Yeah.
that definitely needs to change as well. That they're all human. They take a dump every morning as well. They put their
Hmm.
pants on one leg at a time.
Yeah,
Eh,
and they're probably more dumber than you.
I would
Yeah.
say most Americans are probably smarter than their senator. It's just that senators
Yes,
have the gift of gab.
definitely.
Gift of gab will take you a long way.
Yeah, and I also don't understand this term of career politician.
Yeah,
Like
no,
that's just saying, I don't have literally any other skill in this world apart from conning people, so this is my way.
yeah, no, freaking, uh, yeah, who was it? Jane Feinstein, or she's like 92, 95 years old. And there was even a part where I think someone told her during a bill, just say I, just say yes. I think like someone overheard them saying that to her. Like, these most of the Congress members are in their 70s, 80s, like late 60s, and they've been in like in politics for the past 30, 40, 50 years. I mean, there is less time between Abraham Lincoln's inauguration and Joe Biden's birth than Joe
Hmm.
Biden becoming president.
Damn.
He's been in politics for that long, and
Ever.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think Biden was in politics back when T-Rex roamed this planet. You know. Yeah. And by the way, do you also know that when a person becomes senator, their stock returns go up to 570% every year?
And that's also why, because of the no term limits and stuff like that, the senators want to be reelected because that's where they get their money and stuff like that. So that's why I feel like American people call them, tell them do this or
Yeah.
we won't put you back in, like that. Like we're the ones that put you in there.
Hmm.
You're the we you get reelected because of us.
Yeah. I feel like, by this point, United States just should make insider trading just legal. They're like, yeah, just go ahead and fuck it. Like all senators are doing it. Might, better call it as legal so that even regular people can also start to do it.
Honestly, the bill I was actually in support of is that politicians have no way to buy stocks.
Whoa,
They're
whoa. No, no. Robert, you cannot do that. You
Well,
cannot
that's
do
where
that.
they're getting the money.
Trust me.
They're
No, you cannot do that. You are taking away bread and butter of all congressmen. You cannot do that.
I know a lot of people think before you could become senator, I think it was a running joke that the senator has to live off of the living wage of the lowest income family before they can run for office to see what it's like for the people that live in their states and stuff like that. And honestly, I think there could be a truth to that matter that I wish we had politicians that understood lower classes, like whenever I was growing up and stuff like that. To be able to prioritize and like find the programs that work for everybody because that's why we're putting them in power. It's because
Hmm.
we can't do it.
And I heard that like becoming a senator is the fastest way to escape poverty and become a millionaire. Like not even startups can achieve that kind of money so quickly.
Oh yeah, who was that one senator? She went from making. I think she started like within 4 years of having $100,000 salary. She was a multimillionaire. Uh,
Yeah, the biggest example, Nancy Pelosi, right?
Nancy Pelosi, but there was also that new senator as well. I think she's like only like 40 or something. I can't remember who it is. I have a tough time remembering names. Thank God in the
Do you want
military
to
everyone
say
had name
AOC?
tags.
Hmm.
AOC.
Yeah, I
Oh,
hate that woman. I don't know whether she's on your project or not, but I honestly hate that woman.
you can see if you go on the site for the Borgen project. Actually, whenever you go to like the
Yeah.
about page and stuff like that, it tells you
Uh
the
huh.
the people that are on the board and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
And I think we do
I
have a
see you
Congress
have
member.
two.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. You have two, I think. Adam Smith and Michael McCall.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's great. At least politicians do give two shits about actual world.
I just wish we had more people that gave a shit. That's the bottom line.
Hmm.
I also know I said I wouldn't curse while I was trying to do this, but I got a little bit worked up trying to, discussing this kind of stuff. I'm a little bit
Hmm.
passionate about how there we need to
Yeah,
do
Robert.
something.
Here is what I think. Right, people who don't curse at like when they talk, they're just not passionate, or they're just like they think they're sophisticated. Um, yeah, because I see even politicians curse, right? And sometimes it catches on microphones. And I'm like, yeah, you're kind of screwed there, buddy. Um, yeah, but I totally feel like it's fine to curse because that's just our way of expressing our emotions, right? And it's just part of it.
Oh yeah.
And you know why this concept of no curse is coming from?
Uh, Actually, no. You could probably educate me on this one.
It comes from rich charlatans, and their thinking, like, like, you should always be positive, you should always be happy, and they see cursing as like this barbarian thing.
It's a more graphic way to express your emotions, and
I mean, it's
honestly,
honestly not. It's not like,
it
you
gets the
know
point across.
yeah, and if you look at some words used by rich people, it's far more fucking offensive than like fuck or shit or whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
Especially when people are like, your family is very colorful. Yeah, you're just telling me that I'm like dark skinned. Like, fuck you.
Also, why you gotta beat around the bush with something? Like, you can make an observation, but you,
Yeah, I mean, like, I could tell, okay, like, Robert, your whole family is white, and you could tell me your whole family is brown. I'm like, yeah, that's a fucking fact,
yeah, no,
right? And like, you being in the military, and you said you had traveled all over the world. And whenever I ask people like, how what do they feel about India, I'm looking for three keywords, and this is my secret. If I hear these three keywords, I'm like, you either you're ignorant, or you're like, you just don't give a shit. The first one is colorful. Like, when people say India is so colorful, I'm like, yeah, so is your
it's
country.
India.
Yeah,
It's
but
India.
it's yeah, but every country on this planet is colorful. It's not like everybody in United States just wear whites, like, wear whites and black. I'm pretty sure, because just looking at your wall, it's green. It's not like
Yeah,
every house is just painted either white or black, right? Every country is colorful. And then they say, like, people are very, uh, I forgot the term. It's a very political word. um yeah, they say people are very unique.
oh yeah, trying to be polite without like, oh my god,
Yeah, like, people are very polite. I'm like, people are very unique. I'm like, yeah, that's literally every human being on this
every
planet.
person, every person's unique.
And the third one is, yeah, and the biggest, like, red flag for me is, like, like, India is a great country, and that's it.
That's
Like, they do
that's it.
not explain it.
That's it. Every country
Yeah,
has its pros and cons, and like if you can't, I think because a lot of people are, like you said, you're right, ignorance. They probably don't know
yeah.
crap about India except from what they've seen on
Hmm.
TV, and they don't want to
Yeah.
look like they're ignorant as hell. You know.
Yeah, because the biggest anti, we have few publications all over the world who are like biggest anti-Indians. One is BBC, uh, and the second one is the New York Post.
Don't read the New York Post. So
Yeah, because if you are like, I don't know whether you're looking into current affairs, but recently we landed on the moon.
yeah, y'all recently
And
did, didn't y'all?
yeah,
Yeah, that's
and
fucking great.
if I show you the graphic what New York Post put up,
I'm gonna look it up
you
now. I gotta look it
yeah,
up now.
yeah, just look at New York Post, and um, just post on Chandrayaan 3.
The first thing that
Uh,
popped up was Indiana Jones.
okay.
India.
Definitely not that.
Okay.
Yeah, New York Post Chandrayaan 3, I think.
Reentry.
New York Post on just moon landing of India, whatever you want to search it as. Of
Yeah, India
India.
becomes the fourth country to successfully land on the moon.
Hmm. If you just go to images, the first thing you'll be able to see.
Freaking ads load. That's a YouTube video. Oh,
Mhm.
where it shows uh, a news conference with the flag in the background. Also, the
No,
satellite.
it's so it's an image of a cafe where it is written, Elite Space Club, and a poor Indian farmer with his cow is knocking on the door.
I'm not seeing that. They may have. I'm on the internet. They could have just
Mm-hmm.
got rid of that one, but I don't. At least they have pictures of the satellite images and the actual pictures and stuff like that. Now, I
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
show the achievement, show the accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a major breakthrough to do that kind of stuff. The I don't understand why. Honestly, mass media in general, even though
I'm
I'm
just.
oh, you're gonna show it, okay.
Uh, yeah, I'm just gonna show it to you quickly. This is the one.
Oh, the New York cartoon. Oh,
Yeah, this thing right here.
yeah. All those political cartoons.
Yeah, but this is not even political. It's just like blatantly like putting someone down, right?
Yeah, the political cartoons. If you, there, I've actually seen some pretty funny ones and pretty bad ones. I think it all depends on like
Mm-hmm.
who draws it, who and who sees it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And the irony is this India's Mars mission.
Yeah.
It cost us less than the movie Gravity to reach the freaking moon. It cost us less than Gravity, and um, one incredible fact is, sorry, you know how like of course there's a budget to reach to moon. This latest mission of ours
Hmm.
cost 16 paisa per kilometer. I'm just converting it to your currency, just so that it makes sense for you.
Isn't it only like 2 million
16
or five
rupees.
million dollars or something like that?
Yeah, so it's like 19 cents per kilometer. That's the
Yeah,
cost.
yeah. NASA has a
And
huge price tag for each pound that goes up. Uh,
mhm, yeah, and ours was like $75 million, and that
oh, I
cost
was
us
way
less
off,
than the Barbie movie.
but Hollywood has really just gone down in general. I haven't gone to see a new movie in months because, or
Hmm.
actually probably almost a year now, because just Hollywood doesn't make anything good. I've been watching a lot
Hmm.
of foreign movies. Like Korea has really been good on their game with a
Hmm.
lot of the stuff they came out with, and
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of Bollywood movies, though none recently.
Oh, great. Hmm. So,
Uh,
do you want to guess what is like budget of the Barbie movie?
it wasn't the budget like 59 million or something like that.
No, you're way off too.
100.
No, more.
It's a Barbie movie. I never even saw it. Like
How much
I'm
do you think?
120,
Yes,
150.
more. Yes,
Oh God.
it is $145 million.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't see it.
Yeah, we could have gone to moon and back twice with that money.
See, people spend money on dumb things whenever it comes to that kind of stuff, like all the rich people and stuff like that. They think it's what
Hmm.
people want. We don't want that. We
Hmm.
really don't.
Yeah, and like we recently sent a probe to Sun to study Sun. That's also like shit budget. It's like 300 crores in rupees. I'm just trying to see how much it is in USD. So that's like 48 million.
Yeah, it a drop in the bucket for a lot of the stupid stuff America will spend on.
Yeah,
And y'all
it's
are
like within a Barbie movie, we went to Sun and Moon. Like that's a literal uh,
and science is such an important thing.
comparison.
Like
Yeah.
I 100% believe that we need more scientists and more people actively like trying to improve this world instead of going to watch a
Mhm.
Barbie movie. Just
Yeah.
though at least Oppenheimer was kind of historic, like based on history. Like I didn't see Oppenheimer. I heard some good things about it, but I already know most of the history with it. And Oppenheimer, to be honest, kind of was a little weirder towards the end of his life.
Yeah, that I think that's what all the geniuses of the world, and I think they're not weird. It's just that their thought process changes because they have worked so differently on so many different things. Um, just by the way, NASA's budget per year is $25.3 billion, and ISRO's budget is $1.93 billion. It's not even like 10%.
It's fucking nuts. Just honestly,
Yeah.
how much money, and that's another thing about like the US dollar and stuff like that. I
Hmm.
think only like a small percentage, I think it's only like 10% or 20% of all
Hmm.
the money that gets transferred to the United States is actual physical currency. I think the
Hmm.
rest of it's just digital, and
Yeah.
it's disappointing. It really is.
Hmm. So,
But with oh, go ahead.
how I was talking about the Mars mission earlier?
Hmm.
It cost us $74 million. It cost us less than the fucking Barbie movie. We could have gone twice to Mars with that money.
Yeah,
Imagine twice to Mars.
and going to Mars is such a huge accomplishment for any scientific community, no matter
Yeah.
what. Like because the amount of calculations that have to be made and
Yeah.
all the hazards that you have to avoid just even getting there because of all the
Hmm.
debris. Like we have so
Yeah.
like just to get past Earth, like we have so much space debris. We really do.
Yeah.
Like a lot of satellites are out of commission.
Hmm.
Few like canisters.
Yeah.
And then getting to Mars itself, having to
Hmm.
calculate all those different mathematical equations to make sure you actually land on Mars and not
Yeah.
miss it by a couple million miles.
Do you want to know a frightening news?
All
India
right, hit me
doesn't
with
have
it.
a rocket. India doesn't have a rocket that can even reach moon.
Y'all, don't-
We don't we don't have big rockets. Like they're not capable because if you look at NASA and Artemis, it it's like direct injection into moon's orbit.
oh yeah, I think I
They
also
are so
learned
powerful.
something that yeah, 200 tons of garbage are on the moon now
Yeah,
because of
yeah.
all the crashes, all the stuff that uh,
Hmm.
the different countries left behind,
Yeah,
rovers. Like, yeah, we're sending garbage to the moon now as
yeah.
well.
But Indian rockets don't have that capability, so they have to do um, yo-yo movement,
Hmm.
that is slowly get out of the orbit of the Earth and then go to Moon or Mars or wherever we want to go.
Oh, actually, that reminds me of that centrifuge company where they are able to send payloads into space by le-
Yeah.
legitimately just spinning it around as fast as they can
Hmm.
and then just shooting
Yeah.
upwards.
Shooting it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, and uses way less energy and money than like
Hmm.
NASA and a bunch of other stuff. And I think they also do a lot of the same principles as well. As soon as they get it up into the upper atmosphere, into a slight orbit, they'll start doing a slingshot
Hmm.
maneuver to get further out into space.
Yeah. The biggest thing is like everybody flexes on SpaceX, especially Americans. They're like, look at us. We have SpaceX. SpaceX is cheaper than Uber. And like in India, if you want to hire a cab, it is somewhere around, let's say, if even if I want to talk in just dollars, let's say India ran on dollars, it would be somewhere around $25 per kilometer. And
Yeah,
this ISRO's machine is $16. That's like almost half of a car that will take you from a place to place.
yeah, no. Honestly, Uber saved me in a lot of different, especially whenever I was drinking a lot when I was younger.
Hmm.
Uber helped me out a lot, but uh, it's crazy how much money because I think that's going back to what I was saying earlier. How people always make excuses that they either don't have the money, time, or anything like that. But the thing is, they have enough money to buy a new coat, pay
Yeah.
spend $120 at the bar, then spend another
Hmm.
$60 on an Uber ride back. Or if they
Hmm.
decide to drive, which is the dumbest fucking thing you can do, get a
Hmm.
couple hundred dollar DUI ticket and then spend a couple thousand
Yeah.
having to install a breathalyzer.
And
It's
also, the next morning you spend so much money on medications just to get rid of that headache.
yep,
Yeah,
hangovers.
that is stupid.
Fast food, like fast food is like fast food's starting to get expensive. Like people are eating out all the time.
Yeah. um Totally off topic, but
I think we've
you
already been
know,
past that point.
yeah, there was this. I think it was podcast on YouTube, and there was a prostitute on that, or sorry, a sex worker, to be politically correct, but I don't give a fuck. Like, and
Entertainer.
yeah, all interchangeable terms. And she said something that was like, oh my god, that's correct. And she said, whenever people stop spending money on strippers, that's when
Yes,
economic downturn is here.
I remember reading that in a paper. Strippers and are the first to know that an economic collapse is coming.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I need to have few stripper friends whenever they were like, yeah, this month is down. I will just I will just start betting against the economy. Just buying put options everywhere.
Yeah, I don't think the house is winning this one.
Definitely, yeah. And she said like, strippers are making like 40 to 50% less money in the last 2 years. And she was like concerned, of course, because it's a bread and
It's
butter. But she was like, this is definitely an economic downturn, because if people stop spending, this was like her literal like statement. She was like, if people stop spending money on horse, that they are in like real trouble. Because she said that, like, she had a client who used to work for 12 hours extra per week just to be able to afford going to a stripper.
mhm.
And she was like, yeah, if people stop spending money there. And she said like that should be one of like economical terms like GDP. It's like
Yeah,
stripper.
a stripper approval rating.
Yeah. And if that's down, shit has hit the fan. And like that's the reality of today. Um because the other day on Reddit I saw just a meme which says, a 1960s woman, I think, just going to a mall, and they wrote that, this is her, like, she had a full cart, and they were like, this is a $20 groceries, and this is what she has bought before going to a $15,000 home.
Yeah, no, the price of like the American dollar, if you like compare it to the inflation that it was today, like $20 that many years ago, you're like it was more like 150. It's crazy. Like a new home back then was like $1,000 down payment, and it was like a $20,000 home. That same home today is like same size, same square footage. You're going to be buying for probably about $450,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
$500,000 just for the same home that was bought for 15,000 just 50 years ago, 60 years ago.
Yeah. Did you see this recent loan tenure of 36 years?
Yeah, mortgage rates. Like
Did you apply?
no, I got the VA home loan. I'm thankfully saved with that at least somewhat.
Yeah.
Um,
You just had to put your life on the line
yep.
for them to
I
give you a better interest rate.
I actually I actually I loved being in the military. I actually got out because I was injured. I fell down a 30-foot ladder well, caught myself in my right arm, completely tore my rotator cuff and labrum in my right shoulder. And they told me I went to doc right after it happened. My shoulder was like hanging like 3 or 4 inches down. I'm like, doc, can you help me out? He goes, yeah, tomorrow. I was like, doc, I got fucking duty. He goes, yeah,
Hmm.
tomorrow. So I had to go put on a bulletproof vest, sling over my M4 over my shoulder.
Yeah.
And then we finally went over there and they said, oh, yeah, you're going to need surgery and your submarine disqualified. And
Oh.
because I was
Hmm.
on submarines for about 5 years, I loved the job.
Yeah.
And they told me, nope, not anymore.
Hmm.
And that kind of just that led me down to a dark place for a little bit. But
Hmm. Yeah.
oh but yeah, no, I literally had to sacrifice time with my family. Got divorced while I was in the service because
Hmm.
uh, wasn't around. I wasn't home around a lot.
Hmm.
I was underway
Yeah.
and made life in the military is extremely difficult. You give up a lot of your things that make you who you are. Like, yeah, personally, you'll
Yeah.
always be the same, but to the people around you, you won't because you
Hmm.
change. You become more quiet. Like for me, I have a lot of people tell me that I'm very quiet whenever I'm walking around and stuff like that because On
Mm-hmm.
submarines, if you're loud, that can get you detected, and you could die. So
Mm-hmm.
you got to be quiet. So I'll open doors quietly. I'll
Mm-hmm.
actually on submarines we had our toilet seats zip tied down because so I was a sonar technician. If you slam a toilet seat on a sub,
Mm-hmm.
if you let it drop, that sound
Mm-hmm.
travels for 13,000 yards, like a
Damn.
couple miles, and can
Mm-hmm.
get you detected.
Wow.
So
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, Kardashians would definitely not survive in a submarine.
I don't even think some of them can fit through the tube to go down.
Yeah, now they're like now they're getting surgeries to slim themselves down because that's what is the trend.
I think it's I think cosmetic surgery like that is just an excuse for people who can't do the work itself. Don't get me wrong. I think cosmetic surgery is good for those who will improve their self confidence. Like my mother, she had trouble for with weight for a long time, and she
Mm-hmm.
got a gastric bypass,
Mm-hmm.
and that because that's what she needed to finally lose the weight. And then she had lost all the weight, but she had extra skin, and so she cut that off. Like I think cosmetic surgeries like that,
Mm-hmm.
where because it would be impossible to get rid of all that loose skin naturally. She would
Yeah.
have that forever. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why she had it cut off. And for me, I lost uh, about 60, 70 pounds over the past year,
Mm-hmm.
and that is a lot of work. But I have extra skin that I'm probably going to have for a long time. That I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to be able to get rid of. So plastic
Yeah.
surgery, I think, is good in some situations, especially for burn victims, people who mostly for self confidence. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not. It is an improvement in life because it makes them happier to live. So,
Mm-hmm.
but because you're lazy and you want to lose the weight, no,
Yeah.
no,
I mean, in Kardashian's case, it's not even weight. It's just aesthetics.
yeah, because they're getting paid already to do that stuff. And
Yeah.
actually, have you seen some of those older celebrities that have had so much plastic surgery on them that they look
Yes, definitely.
fake? It looks like
Yeah.
their skin's shiny and it's all
Yeah.
lumpy and weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like John Travolta
Yeah.
is a big example.
Yeah, and also that what's her name? Rachel from Friends. I'm just trying to remember her name.
Uh, 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 Christian or no,
Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, and her skin is just tight. I'm like, yeah, ain't no way that's like real. You have to be on something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, like if you look at like Meryl Streep, right, and she's old,
Oh yeah, Meryl
and
Streep.
she's just
Also, I do need to point out I do need to
Mhm.
go soon as well.
Sure. I will let you go in like 2 minutes. That's not an issue.
Okay.
So yeah, like ain't no way like that's real. Like people are constantly getting treated on.
It's not worth it in the end because you sure you
Hmm.
look fine for a couple of years, but then there comes a point where you kind of just like crap. Like you spent all that money to look good, and now you're just paying for it.
Yeah, that's like this sadness that exists in our society, unfortunately. So yeah, we are in a I think we do live in a fucked up society. Um,
It
yeah.
I just wish that's I think going back to what was said in the beginning. Honestly, just take a little bit of your time to uh, go out and just advocate for something, talk about something, make your voice be heard, and even then, just like a couple people's enough to really make a difference. It really is.
Hmm.
And also, I'll say one more thing if you don't mind. On the Borgen Project website, there is a section you can use that'll allow you to email your senators, representatives directly. Like you don't like they'll do it all for you. They have a place right for you to do it. So you don't even have to like do that much work. Just if you go onto the website, you can do it.
Got it. Yeah. Anyways, Robert, it was nice talking to you. Thank you very much
Uh,
for taking your time and being here.
oh yeah, thank you so much for having me. Also, if you want me to come back on, I got so many
Hmm.
military stories. I got a lot of different experiences, certifications. if you ever want to have me on for a different discussion, I'll welcome
Mhm.
to just having a good conversation
I
with you.
was going to ask you off the record, like, would you be willing to come? But before, so that you just proposed, yeah, that works. We will have you back soon.
All right, yeah, no, sure, awesome, possum. I'd love to come back on and talk to you. You
Hmm.
bring up a lot of good viewpoints, and I always love talking to like having those kind of serious, more laid back, serious conversations with people where you don't have to worry
Hmm.
about offending someone or get someone getting too upset. Like
Hmm.
just to have a genuine conversation because that's all it is. Sure, we can have a
Hmm.
difference of opinions, but it's
Yeah,
civil. We're all
yeah,
our own people.
exactly. So, yeah, thank you very much for that. And to my audience, guys, this is the end of the episode. And Borgen Project's website will be in the link description. Just go there, check it out. And especially if you are in United States, if you are wanting a change, maybe just just act, just act a little bit, because it does not take that much of your time. And who knows, if it works, you'll be happy at the end of the day. So yeah, please support this particular project because they are doing something that's necessary. It's not and it's also a very sad necessity of our society that we need to look at these basic things even after millennia of evolutions. So yeah, just go there and support, and until next episode.